Doesn't this seem really loud tonight?
Super loud and
We've been
kind
online
of
for a couple of
echoey.
Back up
It is
just a
echoey.
little. Yeah, what is all that echo? Can that come down a little? Pardon? Okay, thank you. All right, I'm going to go ahead and call this meeting to order. It is Tuesday, August 13th, and this is a regular meeting of the Catalina Foothills School District Governing Board. It is 6:31 at this point. Welcome to everybody. On behalf of the Governing Board, I want to welcome everyone to tonight's meeting. Members of the public are attending both in person and remotely through YouTube Live. In a few minutes, I'll read the rules of order for public comment at a governing board meeting. If you wish to make a comment remotely, you should have signed up using the Google form that's available under the YouTube Live description. If you do not see the link to the Google form to speak, you can refresh the YouTube live stream. If you're attending in person, the purple form request to address the governing board that looks like this and is on the front desk there needs to be completed and handed over to Amy Sams, our board secretary. I'm going to go ahead and have everybody stand and join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag
Of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, I'm now going to read the rules of order for public comment at governing board meetings. You guys are all regulars here. Does anyone object to me just having these read into the minutes for this evening?
No, ma'am.
Okay, then we will not worry about that. And we will move right along to item 1.4, which is outstanding achievements. I'll turn it over to Dr. Bartlett.
Well, since school's just started, we are going to, we don't have a lot of highlights, but we do want to highlight two former CFSD students who received the Hughes Federal Credit Union scholarships to pursue higher education. Scholarship recipients are the class of 2024 graduates, Sienna Hazel DeVoli Bowen and Anderson Peters, and they each received $2,000
That's
scholarship.
wonderful.
That is.
And our new tradition for the first outstanding achievements is an opening of the school video. So we have a video presentation of how we opened up the school, starting with new teacher orientation all the way through the first day of school.
Wonderful. I never know where to look.
No.
went and took my daughter's hand and walked her through the playground.
Perfect school for me is getting to see all the little ones who I love so much and getting to see their faces and how excited they are to see me and all the teachers and it's awesome.
It is so exciting. We are full of enthusiasm. We're so eager to see all of the students. The teachers are ready. They've been preparing for everybody for weeks. And so we are just so happy that it's the first day is finally here and we can meet everybody.
I think today is really all about making connections, making sure that every kid felt like they have a part in our classroom, part of our pack, and learning all the new names and just really getting to know each other, what we like, what we don't like, and the reason why we're here, what makes Canyon special. So it was really just a chance to connect with everybody.
Teachers are so nice. They're so nice. And like, it is a little bit hard to adjust to like, having no breaks in like recess or anything. But I just love all the teachers here, and I just love, I love the school. It was a lot of fun because there's so excited about it.
I'm looking forward to a great year of academics, a great year of athletics, getting to know these kids here at the school. It's been a fantastic year, and that's what I'm looking most forward to.
I'm looking forward to making lots of new friends and just having many new opportunities this year and a chance to start again. That's what I'm looking forward to.
We're gonna have even more fun tomorrow. Sound good?
Yay, Foothills Films.
Yeah. So that will be a new tradition.
It's a great new tradition, and you guys are really on your game with these videos. The one that was shown at the all-staff meeting,
Oh,
Amy and I were sitting next to each other in tears. It was so wonderful.
and it's on the district website.
It is on the
So
district
if you
website.
missed it,
Everyone should
go
go see.
check it out.
All right, well, thank you for that.
Yes.
I have no public comments, correct, Amy? Okay, we're going to move right on into our consent agenda. Does anyone have anything that they need or wish to pull or discuss on the consent agenda?
I would ask to pull item 3.3, please.
Anybody else?
3.3. For reasons which you will not approve of.
Let's see. Anybody have any questions or comments?
Back to business.
Yeah,
That's good.
it does, doesn't it?
May I make?
Can I just ask on the personnel detail how we're doing in terms of our remaining openings?
Actually, for the certified, we still have the same two. The two special education. We did fill our STEM integration specialist position.
Great.
I think that was the only other one that was open for certified. Classified, we're still working on hiring some inclusion EAs, but we're getting there. We feel like we're in pretty good shape.
Yeah.
Considering the climate that we're in. Yeah, and where
Absolutely.
we started,
Yeah,
Well, and
Absolutely.
we feel like we're in pretty good shape.
I think compared to prior years too,
And I did see the news footage at the first day of Catalina Foothills High School, and they actually made some statement that the high school is completely staffed.
They are.
There are
Well,
no openings at all at the high school.
they do have a special ed.
Special ed.
One of
the
the,
EA.
one of the special eds is at
Gotcha. Okay,
but it's math and science, all of them.
wonderful.
Wonderful.
Thank you. I know that's a lot of hard work, and it's a huge hustle before this beginning of school year, so thank you so much for getting it done. All right, if somebody wants to make a motion for the balance of the consent agenda.
I move that the governing board approve consent agenda items 3.1, the governing board June 25th, 2024 regular meeting minutes as presented. 3.2, the governing board July 8th, 2024 special meeting minutes as presented. 3.4, the expense voucher memorandum as presented. 3.5, the field trip request memorandum as presented. 3.6, the fundraising request memorandum as presented. 3.7, the personnel memorandum as presented. 3.8, the acceptance with gratitude of the gifts and donations memorandum as presented. 3.9, the district evaluators as presented. 3.10, the award of request for proposal 24-06-29 school psychologist services in the amount of $130,000 to the vendors listed on the cover memorandum as presented. And 3.11, the addition of Brown University to the sole source vendor list for fiscal year 2024-2025 as presented.
We have a motion. Is there a second on the consent? We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 4-0. So let's then return to item 3.3, which is the approval of July 22, 2024 special governing board meeting minutes. Amy?
I was not present for that meeting and therefore I will abstain from voting.
Okay. So do you want to make the motion to vote on it, or would you rather someone else make the motion?
I'll make the motion.
Okay.
I move,
Well, I think there was a clarification we wanted to, for those minutes as well,
Ah,
regarding the
Yes.
U of A
Correct.
band day.
correct,
Not the U of A, NAU band day.
yes.
So in the minutes, it reflects that the district is currently funding band camp. I misspoke at our meeting. It is not band camp that we are funding, we're funding the NAU band day for all of our band, which is the required band
Field trip,
obligation.
if you will,
Mhm.
obligation.
That they have to do. So I wanted to correct that because in the minutes, we talked about band camp and it's really band day,
So whereas band camp is optional. but,
optional.
Although highly encouraged,
Highly encouraged.
but the expense is defrayed by, on the basis of need and request.
Correct.
Is that correct? Okay.
Correct.
but the,
I'm sorry. But the required band day is now being funded by the district.
By the district,
Thank
correct.
you.
but the minutes reflect what you said as opposed to
Correct.
what you, right,
Correct.
Yeah.
It reflects what I said at the meeting
right.
incorrectly, and so we want to correct those now to say that I misspoke, and it was actually U of A band.
These minutes will
And
correct.
These
for
minutes will
those.
show that.
These will show
Yes.
that.
But our minutes
correction.
always have to say what was said at the
Correct.
meeting.
Not what we wish we said.
Correct.
Got it. All right. Thank you for that clarification, Denise. I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Carol,
Okay.
do you want to make the motion?
Well, I move that the governing board approve the governing board minutes of July 22nd, 2024 special meeting minutes as presented.
Is there a second? There's a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye?
Opposed? Abstain? Okay, so the motion carries 3-1-0. Did I do that right?
301.
3-0-1, sorry. You're gonna just have to make things difficult for me,
know,
Amy.
sorry.
3-0-1. Okay. We will move right along to our new business for the evening. We've got some policies to review. Our item 4.1 is consideration of revisions to policy BBBA, board member qualifications. This is a first reading this evening, and we'll turn it over to Denise Bartlett.
It is, thank you. So Senate Bill 1280 amended ARS 15302 and 15421 by adding language to the eligibility requirements for the election of governing board members. And specifically, that language is you are not subject to registration as a sex offender in the state or any other jurisdiction. It was added to indicate that anyone who is subject to registration as a sex offender in the state or any other jurisdiction is not eligible for election to the governing board.
Makes sense.
Makes sense. We also changed the legal reference at the bottom of the page to add 15-302. And then the approval date has been changed to after the second reading on that policy.
Questions or discussion on this change that almost should go without saying, but okay.
Yeah, it should.
Yeah,
It happens somewhere else. So.
could have been. All right. Simple and sweet. We will see this again in 2 weeks. So we will quickly move on to item 4.2, which is consideration of revisions to policy and regulation JFB and JFBR, open enrollment, first reading. Dr. Bartlett.
Thank you. So House Bill 2311 amended ARS 15-816.01 for school districts by adding an additional student category to whom a school district may give enrollment preferences. So on the policy, on page 1 of the policy, we're going to go through the policy first. You can see the legal reference there. Instead of this subsection, it has the legal reference there that was changed. And then on page 2 of the policy there, letter D was added. Are children of a member of the armed forces of the United States who either is on active duty or was killed in the line of duty, to the line of preferences for enrollment status. Then the legal reference was added to the list of legal references at the end of the policy, and then the date was also changed to the date of the after the second reading. The regulation then, the paragraph for the procedure for the selection process was simplified. There should be an equitable process in place, such as randomized lottery for applicant selection. There was a question about why would we take out this specific process? Because it gives us flexibility. There are electronic ways to do this now with randomization, so we didn't need the pieces of paper numbered. So it's just, there is a process in place. So that's why that was simplified.
So we may do this, but we don't have to do that? Is that, I mean, it says may. Is that,
Correct. We may.
okay.
We may.
I assume we are going to, or,
Sure, we will.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's in our policy that if a family came to us, we would consider that, of course.
Where does it say, I have in my mind that open enrollment applications can be denied if we're unable to provide support services? We don't have capacity for support services. Is my recollection correct? In other words, a student with an IEP who needs special ed, but we're at capacity for our special ed teachers
Correct.
with resident students, then we can decline an open enrollment student, even if we have capacity in the school.
Correct.
Okay,
And we post the capacities of our program.
okay.
And we have to do that, and we have to change the capacity every 12 weeks. So
Oh.
our capacity is up, and it's a colored zone. So we have red for no capacity,
I
yellow
see.
for some capacity, green for open. So, and we do that by grade level and special programs.
Okay, thank you.
And it is there under the section called capacity, Amy.
Yeah.
It says the estimate of excess capacity shall be made subject to the class size limit established for the school and/or its grade levels and the availability of specialized
Got it.
programs needed by
Yes.
individual applicants. I did have a question about one word in that first sentence under capacity. The excess capacity they're referring to excess capacity that exists to accept transfer pupils. Shouldn't we really be saying open enrollment pupils here? Not really transfer kids? Or both? It's a minor point, it's just something that caught my eye when I was reading through it.
To accept transfer or,
I believe that's referring to students who are in district but transferring to a different school. So they call them resident transfers, and then non-resident transfers where pupils are from out of district.
Right, so this capacity piece does apply to not just students transferring in district, but students enrolling from outside of the district. So I did go back to that definition, so that's why I thought this kind of referred only to residents, and that maybe that should be a different word there.
okay, let me look at that for the second reading.
Anybody got anything else?
Resident transfer, yeah.
Well, it's really to accept pupils.
Right,
Exactly.
Yeah.
Anybody.
so the
Anybody.
transfer
Except
is
residents.
confusing to me, yeah,
I
right.
think it may mean if it was a student that was at the school the year before and then transferred out, they are potentially still able to enroll at that school. If they were at that school the year before and then they moved out of the school boundaries, that may be why that word resident transfer is there, because of the school the previous year.
Maybe. But I think the capacity issue refers to any decision we're making
General
about a
capacity.
transfer
Any
student,
non-resident.
a resident transfer
Yeah.
student, an open enrollment student coming from outside of the district. And that's just why I keep getting snagged on that
Yeah.
transfer word, because that's one of the subcategories that we're talking about in this
Right.
policy, not all of them.
I'm not even sure we need a word.
Yeah, we
just
could
to
probably just
accept
take it out and
pupils.
say pupils, exactly. I had one other quick question on the paragraph where the change was made, children of members of armed forces. Are these 4 categories here that we can give enrollment preference to, they're not in any kind of ranked order in here, correct? It's not like
No.
the children in foster care get
No.
precedent over the McKinney-Vento homeless?
No.
Okay, and so I'm assuming that we've never had some kind of conflict where we've got one slot open and there's 2 different people fitting 2 of these different groups, and how we would resolve something like that. I assume that would be lottery then.
Correct.
Okay, so this is not intended to
Or
rank them.
we would just accept both, probably.
Or we'd accept, but if we didn't have capacity, I don't know what we would do, but,
We would
Okay.
probably accept both.
okay. So, but these are not intended to be in a ranked
No.
order. Okay. Got it.
We do try to accept all
As
of
many kids as we can, yeah. Okay. Anybody have anything else? This is a first reading. It'll come back to us at our next meeting at the end of August. So we'll go ahead and move on to item 4.3, which is consideration of revisions to policy and regulation JLCD, JLCDR, medicines, administering medicines to students. Again, first reading.
Yes,
Back
there
to
are a few more changes to this policy and
Yeah.
regulation. So House Bill 2174 amended many ASRS statutes regarding the ordering and emergency administration of glucagon for students with diabetes. So the school district may now obtain a standing order like we do for Narcan. So we can get a standing order and store doses at individual schools where it can be administered to a specified individual by a specified individual to a student with diabetes in the case of an emergency. So this is a really powerful advantage, I believe. It requires that revisions to our policy and regulation be changed. So, of course, to change the regulation, which is really the major change, the policy needed some changes as well. So minor revisions to the policy so that the policy and the regulation align. So when I was looking at the regulation, which is what the recommendation was, I really tried to align them to the policy as well. So letter C, under the self-administration, we are capitalizing the Diabetes Medical Management Plan as it is a proper noun. So it needs to be capitalized, and this aligns to the change made in the regulation as well. The paragraph for inhalers, under the emergency administration of medicines by trained employees, was revised to remove the administration of to administering, and that was changed in the regulation as well. And under the seizure management plan, the name seizure management plan was capitalized again. And the approval date was changed to August 27th of 2024 after the second reading. There were a few, there is under the training on seizure management plan, there is a missing word there at the very last sentence of that paragraph. Specific training requirements are listed in JLCD-R. Thank you, Carol, for finding that. So that will be an additional change that will come for the second reading. Under the regulation then, so under the administration by school personnel, letter F, number 2, see, there's added, so we've added this either. So it states that you can either A, that was the only part that was there, so we added the B part. B, the district has obtained glucagon pursuant to a standing order. So we have to have that standing order. Carol also mentioned that we should be removing that if on number 2 and number 4 because if is actually on the sentence stem above. So we don't need those ifs. That will come at the next reading. Under the administration by personnel, number 3, volunteer was changed to voluntary, and the administration of was revised to administering. Under administration, letter F, number 5, the word must was removed, and include was changed to includes. Pretty minor things. And then under letter F, number 7 was added. So this is a brand new one. The district may annually request a standing order for glucagon from an appropriately licensed health professional. If a standing order is obtained, a school may stock 1 or more doses of glucagon for emergency administration to a student by an appropriately licensed medical professional or a voluntary diabetes care assistant. And the school district may accept monetary donations, grants, or third-party programs to obtain the glucagon.
So will we be stocking glucagon?
That is our intention.
That is our intention.
Mhm.
And it would be the nurse or the health
Uh,
assistant at the
yes,
school that would
correct.
have responsibility for that.
To be trained. Mhm. And then letter, number 8 was added, so that, to read, each employee or contractor of a school district that implements all or part of a diabetes medical management plan shall provide a written statement signed by an appropriately licensed health professional that the employee or contractor has received that proper training in administering glucagon. And this training would be renewed annually, so each year. Under number F, number 7 was changed to number 9, and then the terms health professionals and physician's assistants were added to those who are immune from civil liability or something that went wrong. And under the administration of school personnel, letter F, number 9, the language including the training of voluntary diabetes care assistants was added. And then finally, under self-administration, paragraph B, the words "the disposal" was revised to "disposing." So the major changes was about the addition of the glucagon. Others were just cleaning up the policy and regulation.
So we have a nurse or a health aide or someone at each of our schools. Who are the other people? Because it says 2 people at each school. Who are the kind of people that are trained to do?
Well, we have a district nurse that
Okay.
could travel to any site to do that.
Oh, so that's our second,
That's our second person. But
Okay.
like, the high school does have a nurse and a health assistant
okay.
staff. But we do have a district nurse as well that would help in administering that.
Oh, that's the way we, I was thinking,
There's only one at most schools,
right, and if
but we
were-
do have that district nurse as well.
I would assume that the administration, and maybe this is a wrong assumption, of glucagon would be on an emergency basis.
Yes.
So having a roaming person isn't really going to
Yeah, or even.
help us in an emergency situation. And this policy makes reference to volunteer, what did they call them?
Voluntary diabetes
Diabetes care
care
assistant.
assistant.
So do we have any of those in any of our sites?
Not that I'm aware of, no. So I'll talk to our district nurse
Yeah,
about,
because I would worry if your nurse is out for the day,
right.
we don't have anybody on a site doing that. So, which is no different now when we don't, before we get.
Correct.
You know, in the way we've been operating for years, but if we're going to have the glucagon
Right.
available to us for emergencies, we should probably cross that T maybe, to have a second person at a site, if it's possible.
Are the schools always aware of students who have diabetes? They are.
Most, yeah, most. They have to in case something happens. So I don't know of any case where a family doesn't disclose that.
I mean, you fill out a health form,
Right.
and, so if you've
We know the health
got
office
bee
has it.
stings and
If they
butter
disclose it.
and
And
those,
then the teacher is also made aware of that.
Okay.
So any teacher that a child would be assigned to,
Absolutely,
so at the high school, 7 or 8 people will know.
yes.
Okay, gotcha.
To look for the signs of a low blood sugar. You're trained to do that.
I feel like each school should have numerous volunteers.
Yeah.
I would think that classroom, I mean, if I had one of these
Exactly.
as
Yeah.
a student,
I'd be the first to volunteer.
sure
if I had
want to
kids.
know
Right.
what to do.
Absolutely.
I will check on that for the next reading.
Thank you.
I mean, these kids are supposed to carry their EpiPens, and I've got a granddaughter who, oh yeah, she never had, oh yeah, I forgot it.
Hopefully with insulin,
Well,
diabetic
well,
kid, well, and
she didn't know this happened.
the younger children are not carrying their own,
allergies,
I would
but-
think, but maybe the older kids are.
No, and of course, lots of them have.
So many have gone.
Yeah.
Right,
Yeah, the
so
pump.
they don't have to
Yeah,
do that.
it's come a long way.
Yeah, got it. Thank you.
And the FDA just approved a nasal spray, emergency
Really?
epinephrine.
Really?
A
Good.
couple
That's
days
great.
ago.
Okay. Anything else on this policy and regulation? We'll see it again in a couple of weeks, and we'll move on to item 4.4, which is approval of delegate and alternate delegate to the ASPA Delegate Assembly. It's an action item for this evening. Well, it can be done remotely this year.
Croatia maybe.
Careful what you ask for.
The answer is yes, Doug.
This is the
Thanks
first
for
year that it
volunteering.
can be done remotely.
We have our winner.
We have a time change.
Yeah. I am out
You're not
for this
doing
whole
anything in the
weekend,
middle of the
so-
night.
Good point. I'm on a boat.
Right,
Bring the
I'm willing to do it remotely.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be at the conference Wednesday, Thursday, but I need to it's my anniversary, so I wanna go home.
Of course.
And, but I'm happy to do it remotely on Saturday morning.
okay. And do we have a backup? Carol, could you do it as a backup if Amy's
guess so.
unavailable? Okay. I
I
will.
can,
But it's remote, is
yeah,
very,
remotely.
I'll be available,
nice location, isn't it? For the
unless I celebrate too
it's
much.
beautiful.
Is it
Well, let me know.
Is that the Camelback?
Camelback? I get it confused with the Biltmore, which is the Christmas
regular
one,
room up
the
there.
holiday one. So, no, it is a nice place. And unfortunately, I can only go to the Wednesday session, but I'm looking forward to that. So, okay. So, we need a motion on the approval of our delegate and our alternate delegate.
Move to nominate myself.
You're just so modest, Amy. You're just so modest.
Go ahead, Doug, you can do it.
Sure, I move the
You
governing
can do
board
this.
approve Amy Kraus Ziegler as the alternate delegate to the ASBA Delegate Assembly.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 4-0.
And I got to abstain.
You guys are tapped. There we go. Thank you for stepping up. We
You're
appreciate it.
welcome.
All right, we'll go on to item 5.1, which is our Arizona Legislative /
Well, now, let me, since Amy and I have decided to take on this really huge responsibility.
Yes.
You're sending us, what, informed, but not instructed on?
Informed but
anything?
not instructed.
There's nothing here that you want us to
I read through
fall
it.
on any swords?
No, I read through it, and I don't have any issue with the changes that they're recommending.
This is not on for a second reading. Oh, it's a
No, it is
discussion,
not.
because it's not
an-
approval, it's a discussion.
The only
of
thing
board.
is the only action item was to approve the delegates.
Okay.
We
I
don't
just-
have discussion of the
I know, so we haven't done that in a
individual
long
items.
time.
We haven't done it in a while.
I mean, it's here, so.
I don't know, did anyone have any
No, I
Call,
just wanted to be sure that,
qualms about what they read? All right.
I mean, my usual typos and stuff, but.
That's very helpful,
They may
Carol.
not want to hear it.
Got it. All right, then, are we clear to move on to 5.1? Arizona Legislative and Governmental Activity? Not in session, so things are quiet.
We're still very busy trying to figure out what to get on the ballot here
Yes.
and how to
there's
word
that.
things, but that's.
There's that. All right. Anything on future agenda considerations? I do think we landed on agenda planning for Friday
rough.
at noon.
Friday at noon?
Friday at
I'm gonna
noon?
go in person.
I'll go in person as well.
Okay.
That'll be fine. Okay, but anyone have anything they want to bring up here? Doug?
Oh, I'll talk to you afterwards.
Okay,
I'm on deck for at the 12th of September, and I'll still be overseas.
Okay. Okay, we can figure that out, yeah. All right, well, if there's nothing else under future agenda considerations, does someone want to move to adjourn this very efficient meeting?
I so move.
So second.
All those in favor of adjournment?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 4-0.
That was weird.
Yes.
It is.
Yeah.
Strange.
Yeah, well, up until about a week ago,